What's going on, guys? I'm the Backseat GM, and today we're taking a look at the top 5 running backs in the 2025 NFL Draft class. Not much to explain here, not going to waste any more time. I just ask that you like and subscribe for more NFL and NFL Draft content, and let's get straight into number 5. And number 5 is going to go to Caleb Johnson from Iowa. Caleb Johnson is a pretty typical 3-down back. He has good size, and I believe better acceleration than what his 40 time showed. When he gets the ball, he shows some patience, but not too much patience, behind the offensive line and follows his blockers very well, allowing him to be a guy who has solid vision to jump outside or just stay inside and gain short yardage between his offensive line. The blend of his footwork, vision, and patience allows for many big plays where he looks hidden between the trenches and ends up exploding out for a solid gain. That said, Caleb Johnson does have some limitations. For example, we didn't see him used as a receiver at all in 2024. Along with that, I don't see him ever becoming a top 5 NFL running back. He can be a solid starter for sure, but he's a guy who lacks twitchiness and extreme elusiveness, and for a guy who lacks these, you'd like to see Caleb break a little bit more tackles than he did on film. Like I said, he's a solid round 2 pick and a great round 3 pick, but I'm not touching this high floor, average ceiling prospect in the first round. At number 4, I have ASU Heisman candidate Cam Skattebo. At this point, we all know Skattebo, but I think he gets a little more hate than he deserves. Now, yes, he is limited in the speed department. I actually think it's a little underrated compared to what the consensus feel is, but he's not going to burn a defense, and he's going to be somebody who gets caught up to from behind time to time. He's also a redshirt senior with a lot of wear and tear on his body. Along with that, he does have a fumbling issue that needs fixing, but man, Cam Skattebo is just that guy. Like, sometimes I feel like film just doesn't lie, and that's how it is with Skattebo. The power, the extremely good ability to break tackles, the great contact balance, the blend of vision and patience in the backfield, the receiving ability, the 1000% that he gives you as a pass blocker, the underrated change of direction for such a powerful back, and most importantly, his demeanor. Skattebo loves to hit defenders, and he gives everything he can on the field. He has a true football heart, and while he may not be very fast and may not be a full-time 3-down back, he's just too good, and I think at worst, this guy is a better version of Taysom Hill, and I'm taking that in round 2 or round 3 all day. Moving on to number 3, I have Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Hampton's film, but the more I watch him, the more he grows on me. Hampton's never going to be an Alvin Kamara type of player. He's just not overly elusive. But I do see a lot of Nick Chubb in his game, and similarly to Hampton, I was also on and off with Nick Chubb's college film at Georgia. Where Hampton will win is with his explosiveness and consistency. Omarion Hampton is your true trenches type of guy. He's not going to bounce outside as much as you'd like, but he's a guy who will consistently gain a few yards, fall for extra yards, and explode for a huge play as soon as the offensive line creates a hole. He showcases a good blend of speed and break tackle ability, which allowed a lot more explosive plays. And as a side note, he has good pass blocking to become a 3-down starter. So why is he number 3? Well, along with his lack of extreme elusiveness and lack of bouncing outside on film, I thought his vision was only decent. He did have a good handful of plays where he'd run into his O-line instead of making a shifty play to break through the hole. But I do have a second round grade on Hampton, and I see him as a future really good 3-down back in the NFL. At number 2, we have one of my personal favorite prospects in this class, and that's TreVeyon Henderson from Ohio State. If he didn't have an extensive injury history, I'd have a first round grade on Henderson, and I'm pretty stingy when it comes to handing out first round grades for running backs. But TreVeyon Henderson would be an exception. When you think of a star running back, what do you think of? Personally, I think of a guy with great vision, an ability to run between the tackles or bounce outside for a big gain. I think of a guy with great agility that causes defenders to miss tackles. I think of a guy who slips off tacklers very well and perhaps plays bigger than he actually is, whether it's lowering his shoulder or giving 100% in pass blocking reps. A guy who literally hasn't fumbled once his entire collegiate career. Combine all of that with 4 years of productivity, including a 1,248 yard season as a freshman at one of the biggest colleges in the country, and you have TreVeyon Henderson. He does everything you want. The only non-injury related thing that you could have legitimate question marks with is Henderson's strength. He's not going to bulldoze guys ever. But like I said earlier, he's a guy who pretends to be bigger than he is, and he's not afraid of a little bit of contact. And at number 1, to nobody's surprise, is Ashton Jeanty, the runner for the Heisman who carried a Mountain Western Conference team to the college football playoffs. Ashton Jeanty is everything you want. He faced boxes stacked with 7, 8, 9 defenders at times, and he still had a legendary season. Sure, Ashton Jeanty isn't going to Derrick Henry defenders, nor Alvin Kamara juke defenders, but he is the definition of an all-around back. Elite contact balance to maintain hits, with a great acceleration to absorb those hits and still take it to the house. He's a guy with great vision, who's really good at hiding his shorter 5'8" stance in the trenches and then exploding for a touchdown when he sees the hole. And even though he isn't extremely shifty, he is a pretty elusive guy still. Combine that with his Michael Myers stance, and the NFL should be scared for this guy to face them. Now, I don't have Ashton Jeanty ranked quite as high as I did when Saquon was drafted. Saquon was just that elite, and Jeanty does have a little bit of a fumbling issue, but he is in that same tier for me as Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, and Bijan Robinson, which is some pretty elite company. And that will conclude my personal top 5 running backs in the 2025 NFL Draft class. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.